Watch this.
A drug treatment center in Washington state is under fire, accused of letting trainees handle serious addiction cases. Now a grieving mom says that failure cost her son his life. A young Navy pilot vanished over the Pacific in 1944. His family spent 81 years wondering what happened. Now they finally know. We'll show you how modern science brought a World War II airman home at last. A retired Oregon educator turns blocks of wood into birds so realistic you'll swear they could fly right off the table. Hear why he says carving isn't about perfection. It's about reliving the wild places he grew up loving. Beyond the 208, we begin in Washington state, where a mother there is taking the next step in her fight for answers. She's learned disturbing details about the death of her son from an investigation done back in April. Chris Ingalls from our sister station in Seattle has the latest.
A former chain of drug treatment centers in Pierce County, Rainier Recovery, now faces a lawsuit. It accuses the company of a negligent pattern of treating drug and alcohol-addicted clients. The suit was filed on behalf of Judy Russo, who operates a small barber shop in Enumclaw.
They don't have any right to play Russian roulette with people's lives.
That's the game she now believes Rainier Recovery played with her son's life in the months before he died at her home from a fentanyl overdose last year.
So we're just going to walk right back there, okay?
Judy knew that a lawyer sent her son, Brett Ryan, to Rainier Recovery after this lapse in his sobriety, a DUI charge in 2023. What she didn't know until we told her is that unqualified counselor trainees treated Brett.
You know, he's accountable. He's the one that got the DUI. But it shouldn't have been a death sentence.
The company engages in corrupt practices, according to a state investigation of Rainier Recovery last year that said Brett and other patients received little actual treatment.
I could see that he was grossly neglected. And you had given me some of the paperwork on the health department, and the proof was in the pudding.
As an example, the lawsuit says Rainier claimed it administered a drug test that came back negative a week before Brett died. But actually, no urinalysis was conducted, according to Judy Russo's lawyer.
I think we too often see profits over people. It becomes kind of a mill to just run people through. And the Department of Health investigation certainly vindicates that, supports that conclusion, that they weren't interested in helping people.
It was overwhelming.
In April, we tracked down the trainee who treated Brett Ryan and recommended minimal supervision in the months before his fatal overdose.
Patient 14 said, "I drink because I have switched from heroin to alcohol." That sounds like somebody with a very significant problem.
It does.
It sounds to me like what he's telling you is he has a very serious drug and alcohol problem.
Yes. That's what it sounds like.
Was this did you make a mistake here?
I might have. I'm a trainee. That's why they call us trainees.
The State Department of Health faulted Rainier owner Jeremiah Dunlap and forced him to sell Rainier Recovery.
Just in it for the money, and hiring people that aren't even qualified to do their jobs.
Hello, Ms. Bowden.
The lawsuit does not name as a defendant the lawyer who sent Brett Ryan and many other clients to Rainier. Department of Health records say Barbara Bowden had a deal with Rainier's owner to get favorable treatment recommendations, hopefully resulting in minimal sentences for alcohol and drug crimes for her clients.
Were you telling employees there to alter evaluations, ma'am?
Barbara Bowden, a longtime DUI attorney, did not respond to our most recent messages for a comment.
10 years ago, in our series Sobriety for Sale, we reported on state evidence showing that Barbara Bowden was doing the same thing with a half dozen other treatment clinics, all of which the state shut down. Again, no comment for this story from Barbara Bowden or from the former owner of Rainier Recovery, Jeremiah Dunlap. I'm Chris Ingalls in the King 5 newsroom.
When his country asked for help, Howard Holding answered the call. During World War II, so many families gave so much. Greg Copeland shares the story of one family who finally got something back.
Okay, so this is service aboard the Enterprise.
which I think is a special one because the Enterprise was such a great carrier in World War II and accomplished so much in the Pacific Theater. But of course, the most poignant of them all would be the Purple Heart. You don't get the Purple Heart unless you're killed in action or wounded in action.
Terry Trick never knew her Uncle Howard.
There's tons and tons of pictures in here of Howard growing up and Howard when he was a kid and even when he was a baby.
But she knows a lot about him.
This is Howard Holding, and his mother, Ida Holding. My brother at 1.5 years. But these are my favorites because they are pictures of him and his family the last time he was home. And he was just about ready to ship out. So it was his last leave before he got on the Enterprise.
That was Thanksgiving, 1943.
He got killed. And he's our family's great tragedy.
According to the National World War II Museum, more than 418,000 Americans were killed during World War II. Nearly 72,000, 17%, are still unaccounted for. Terry's uncle was among them until just recently, when science finally provided some answers. Howard Holding was born in 1922 in Salt Lake City. At the age of 20, he enlisted in the Naval Reserves. After his commission and flight school the following year, he was assigned to Fighter Squadron 20.
There's the squadron. There's his squadron right there. Well, his squadron was called the Jokers.
Fitting for him?
Yeah, their symbol, of course, was the Joker on a deck of cards. I understand he had a great sense of humor and liked to play jokes on my grandmother and my mother.
Holding was stationed aboard the aircraft carrier Enterprise. He spent some time in Hawaii before shipping out.
This is him playing the saxophone in Pearl Harbor when he was stationed there.
But in the summer of 1944, Holding's stage became the Pacific Theater, where he saw plenty of action from the seat of his Hellcat fighter. His final mission came on September 6th over Yap, an island now part of Micronesia, a Japanese stronghold at the time. He was in a 3-plane formation doing recon, not expecting any resistance, and then came the anti-aircraft fire. Another pilot nearby wrote a letter to Holding's mother detailing what happened next.
As I pulled out of my dive, I looked back to see how the rest of the boys were faring. To my dismay, I noticed 2 planes crazily twisting downward vertically. Of course, each plane hit the island with a terrific force and immediately exploded.
Word was sent home via telegram. Holding was missing in action.
My Uncle Howard, Ensign Howard Holding, Ensign Joseph Cox, and Lieutenant Harry Brown. They all lost their lives that same morning.
It wasn't until after the war was over
That this crash site that I went to was Howard's, and that this is parts of Howard's plane here.
that military investigators recovered 4 sets of remains from the island. After some time in storage, the remains eventually made their way to the Philippines. All 4 were buried at the Manila American Cemetery as unknowns in 1950. And that's where they would rest for 70 years, until the military exhumed the remains for DNA testing in 2020.
And I got a call that said, are you Terry Trick?
The man on the other end was Pat Ranfrance. He'd been searching for his own uncle's plane on Yap. That's how he came across Howard's story.
Pat said, you really need to send your DNA to the Navy. And I said, why? They're never going to recover Howard. And he said, you still should send your DNA to the Navy just in case.
She did. And then Terry waited, not really expecting much as the years passed.
I know DNA lasts forever, but I was still wondering if they needed some more or what was going to happen. And it's a good thing that I had done that, because in June, they finally made the identification.
"81 years and 39 days after giving his life for his country, Holding arrived back in Salt Lake City last month. Terry and her son, also a veteran, were there to greet the plane. Howard was laid to rest at the Salt Lake City Cemetery with full military honors. home at last.
Closure is an overworked word, but I look at it as the family is reading a story for 81 years. And we don't know how it's going to end, but we're reading this story. And then finally we get to the end of it because we find Howard and he comes home. And then we can close the book at the end of the story. So closing the book is closure. And that's the way I look at it.
As the fall season hits its stride, migratory flocks of ducks and geese show up and fill the skies. Grant McComey from our sister station in Portland, Oregon, takes us on a trip to where the ducks and the geese are always at hand, mostly because they are made by hand.
If a region's wealth can be measured by its wildness, Oregon is one of the richest places around. There's wildlife at every turn. A solitary eagle perched on watch, or V-shaped waterfowl flocks winging from this place to that.
I enjoy going waterfowl season down here at the local island and just driving along the road and identifying them and just how beautiful they are.
Astorian Rick Pass has enjoyed the waterfowl world since a boy. He even captured local ducks with his camera.
They're just beautiful. We go down here and here they are swimming around. There's a cinnamon teal, green-winged teal, mallard. Isn't it amazing how far those birds actually fly? And I can't tell you the thousands of miles. What a journey that is.
The retired school superintendent has been on a new journey the past 20 years.
I'm going to cut out the top view, the decoy on the bandsaw, and then we're going to turn it to the side and we'll cut out a side view. And then what will end up is a three-dimensional decoy that we're ready to start carving on.
He creates nature's creatures from a block of wood, ducks, geese, and other waterfowl that recall youthful outdoor adventures with his dad from 6 decades ago.
Started young. Just something about being with Dad, being out on the water, treasured memories that I'll have forever.
These days, he tries to imagine the wildlife in a wood block called tupelo, a prized softwood that carvers prefer, but where one mistake can really cost you.
That's my middle name, is Mistakes. Mistakes never end. And in fact, every time we make a mistake, we learn from it. And so hopefully the next bird we do is a better bird than this one.
Rick's wood decoys are among the best in the region, and he loves to show off his work at carving competitions.
Mac, you ready to do some painting?
Rick's not alone. His good friend Mac Brown was bit by the carving bug a decade ago.
There's nothing that I would rather do.
Now the two compete at decoy art shows across the country.
I like to carve, and Rick is the same way. My retirement hobby, so to speak, is doing these birds.
Brown's carvings are whimsical efforts called chunkies, carvings that just make you feel good.
This is a caricature, I guess you would say. This is not a subtle robin. Kids like them. They just have so much fun with them.
Grandkids Bennett, Blair, and Bryn are just getting started.
Put just a little bit right there.
And that's the beauty of the craft, insists their granddad, Rick. Anyone can learn at any age and discover the wonder of wildlife from a block of wood.
That's the key. There's the best that I can do. It may not be the best at the show, but that's a winner for me.
Near Astoria with photographer Jeff Kastner, Grant McComey, KGW.
Our next story takes us to the Central California coast for a heartwarming reunion. A sea otter pup was recently reunited with its mother in Morro Bay, and the touching moment was caught on camera. Valentina Saldana shows us how adorable reunions like these are made possible.
What sounds similar to a baby's cry is actually the sea otter pup named Caterpillar vocalizing for its mom. The team at the Marine Mammal Center covers 600 miles of the California coastline, and when their hotline received a call about an otter pup that was seen near the shore along Embarcadero, they sent team members from the Morro Bay facility to the rescue. They took a small carrier, ice, rescue net, and a Bluetooth speaker, recording a 1-minute clip of the pup's cries to play on repeat in hopes the mother would hear it.
Vocalizations are very important for pairings of moms and pups. So in this situation, we were able to identify the potential mom because of those vocalizations.
Eventually, the team spotted an adult otter following their boat around the bay.
I would be on one side, she'd be on the other, and then we'd end up on the other side. And so that kept happening, and her persistence of following us and approaching the boat was a really key indicator.
And after 2 hours of searching, Marine Mammal Operations Coordinator Shayla Zink placed the pup in the water.
I definitely cried a little bit when she came up and got the pup. It was a super rewarding, top 5 day at work ever.
This was the first reunification in the area since 2019, and this southern sea otter reunion was important for more reason than one.
Southern sea otters are still a threatened species under the Endangered Species Act, and currently their population is kind of hovering at 3,000.
Senior Manager Alia Meza told me that because Morro Bay is secluded, the likelihood of finding an otter mom is likely higher than if a pup is stranded in the open ocean. In a case where the mother cannot be found, the organization might be able to send the pup to the Monterey Bay Aquarium for its surrogacy program with their captive adult female otters.
Teaching them how to forage and eat and act like otters appropriately in a way that humans just can't teach them.
From those gorgeous photos to a stunning sunset happening right now. Look at the skies over Sun Valley. Just beautiful. Looks like a fiery end to our Friday. Mostly clear in the lower elevations. We're still at 60 degrees in Boise. For the rest of our evening, things stay clear and very quiet. We'll dip into the 40s eventually, but that takes until about 10 o'clock tonight. So all things considered, pretty pleasant to wrap up the work week. Looking ahead to the weekend, we'll land at 61 degrees tomorrow. A stunning Saturday. Lots of sunshine, light winds. But on Sunday, things change again. We don't get all that much colder, but we do bring in widespread shower activity. Could be a soaker at times for portions of eastern Oregon and the central mountains. Just scattered showers across the Treasure Valley on Sunday, but enough to make it a first alert weather day. Tomorrow morning, we'll wake up to those mid to upper 30s across most of the Treasure and Magic Valleys. We'll warm into the 60s again tomorrow across the I-84 corridor. Your Sunday will be a bit soggy. Monday, lingering showers will hang on into the morning hours. After that, we stay in those low 50s through Thursday. A few more showers come in by the end of the work week.
The West Ada School District is considering changes that could have a major impact on several schools, but they want community feedback first. And if you're looking for something to do tonight, Front Street Fights is back in Boise. Abby Wilt has the 411.
This weekend, the Boise community will honor the life of a girl killed in a car accident. Earlier this week, police say a driver in a pickup truck hit 8-year-old Maura Garrity at the intersection of Harrison and Ada Street. She died in the hospital from her injuries. A vigil will be held to honor Maura's memory. It'll be held tomorrow at Ada Street and Harrison Boulevard at 7 p.m. With Independence Elementary set to open next year, the West Ada School District wants your feedback on proposed school boundary changes. The district plans to adjust attendance areas to balance enrollment and accommodate growth, which will potentially impact several schools in the district. Officials say these changes were developed by a community-led committee and are now entering the public input phase. You can share your thoughts through an online survey or at a town hall meetings starting Monday. Front Street Fights is returning to Idaho Central Arena tonight. The night will be packed with hometown heroes as top local pros and rising amateur stars aim to make their mark. In the main event, Idaho's own Andrew Cruz steps into the cage to defend the featherweight title against Spokane challenger Derry Alderman. You can watch those fights live starting at 7 o'clock on KTVB+. Boise State is headed down to San Diego to take on San Diego State this weekend for the top of the Mountain West Conference. Our Jordan Smith is headed there with the team for live coverage. Join us for our Bronco Roundup Game Day show tomorrow at 9 a.m. right here on Channel 7. We'll also be live from the field an hour before kickoff with the latest ahead of the game. That show will start at 7:30 and you can watch on KTVB+, download on your TV and watch for free. If you want to look at more information on Saturday's game, you can text 208-321-5614. We'll send a link to the game day guide straight to your phone where you can find information on the matchup, where to watch, and more. That's the 411 on the 208. I'm Abby Wilt.
Okie doke, folks, let's end the half hour with some of your comments. We'll begin with a great question I've wondered myself. In watching the road reports, the speed on the freeway is indicated. How do the speeds get monitored? All the weather people are great. So long story short, there's a supercomputer that we contract with. It uses all types of data that is fed to their computer, maybe things from like driving apps and like Waze or Google Maps. Feeds it in, goes in the algorithm, and it helps determine based on their speed and their traffic what that looks like out there. So a high speed, high profile, great equation. Yeah, tie, I forgot, I'll wear it, or I won't wear it. And yes, no ties on any 208 properties. All right, see you on Monday. Thanks so much.
Continue with us and watch free now on the KTVB Plus app everywhere you stream.